Hello and welcome back to the Hazzabhajan YouTube channel. It is Harry here, and today it is time for the continuation of the football alphabet series as we move into the letter T, with of course the first episode in the two-part series of this particular letter being the best clubs whose names begin with T. I know I always say this, but I have to say it anyway just to get it out of the way. But if you've missed any of the episodes thus far, I'll link to the playlists in the description down below, and please give the video a like if you enjoy it and subscribe if you are new around here. And without any further ado, here is my Hall of Fame of the best clubs whose names begin with T. Number 1, Tottenham Hotspur. I tried to find a fine line between teams who are obviously well known and teams who perhaps aren't, but even with that, there was no way I was ever leaving Tottenham out of this list. Formed in 1882 by some grammar school kids, they originally called it Hotspur FC, but there was already a club with that name, so Tottenham was added to it. They were admitted to the Southern League in 1895, and it was whilst they were in that division that they won the FA Cup in 1901, becoming the only non-league side to do so. However, whilst they would be admitted to the Football League in 1908, they would only win one FA Cup in 1928 and one league title in 1951, until Bill Nicholson's appointment in 1958. Nicholson's arrival transformed the club, and in the 16 years of his stewardship, they won 8 major trophies, including doing the double in 1961, the first of that ilk since 1897, and the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1963, becoming the first English side to win a European trophy. When Nicholson left in 1974, Spurs would be relegated within 3 years, although they bounced back pretty quickly and would even win the 100th FA Cup final in 1981 after a dazzling solo goal by Ricky Villa against Manchester City. Although Spurs have been ever present in the Premier League ever since its inception in 1992, their well-publicised lack of trophies has been subject of ridicule, as since their 1991 FA Cup triumph, they've only added 2 League Cups to their name, with them coming in 1999 and 2008. They have become a major player in the Premier League in recent times though, finishing second in 2017, only 7 points behind Chelsea, and they reached the Champions League final in 2019, but they would lose 2-0 to Liverpool. Jimmy Greaves, Dave Mackay, Paul Gascoigne, Ossie Ardiles and Harry Kane are just 5 players in a long line of Spurs legends, which could take me a full-on 10 minutes to reel off in full. Number 2, the strongest. I'm well aware that their quality is much lower than the other teams on this list, as well as other teams whose names begin with T, but they have by far and away one of the best team names in the entire world, so I had to include them. Bolivian outfit The Strongest, yes they really are from Bolivia, were founded in 1908, and they were originally called The Strong Football Club as one of the co-founders knew how to say the phrase in English, but then clearly they decided they wanted to be a little bit more conceited, and so they changed their name permanently to The Strongest. They won the very first Bolivian championship in 1911 and have triumphed no fewer than 15 times since, with one of them coming in 1930, seeing them concede absolutely 0 goals on their way to triumph. Sadly, not everything about the club's history has been particularly positive. On the 26th of September 1969, a plane carrying the team to an exhibition match in Santa Cruz crashed in Voloco after a pilot error, and there were no survivors. Somehow, they were able to recover quickly in spite of the intense hardships that they faced, and they would end up finishing second in the league the following season. To lighten up the mood a little bit, they are the only club in the world with a battle named after them, as during the Chaco War, a division consisting of players from the club played a vital role in the Batalla de Canada Strongest, which has now been cited as the most important victory for the Bolivian army in that particular war. They currently top the Bolivian league, level on goal difference with another team with a phenomenal name, Always Ready. And considering they haven't won the league title yet, I'm not quite sure that they actually are. Number 3, Trabzonspor. Undoubtedly Turkey's 4th biggest club, which I don't really think is much of an accolade when you think about it. Trabzonspor lag behind Turkey's big 3 of Fenerbahce, Galatasaray and Besiktas in terms of trophies won and prestige, but they have been around for a much shorter length of time than all 3 of them, as they were founded in 1967. However, their inception would be convoluted, as 3 clubs came together to form Trabzonspor in 1966, but one decided against it originally before changing their mind the next year, leading to the club being disbanded and then subsequently reformed straight away. Since their first promotion in 1974, they have never been relegated, and within 2 years they would make history as the first champions of Turkey's top flight to hail from outside Istanbul. They wouldn't finish outside of Turkey's top 2 again until 1985, winning 5 more league titles including the double in 1977 and 3 in a row between 1979 and 1981. Perhaps even more unbelievably than that era of dominance, they haven't actually been able to win the league since 1984, coming second a further 6 times, although they have won the Turkish Cup also 6 times, including last season. One of those second place finishes came in 2011 as they lost out on goal difference to Fenerbahce, who were later alleged, and then subsequently found out, to have engaged in match fixing during the season. And yet despite this, and many appeals by Trabzonspor to award the titles to them, nothing was changed, and Trabzonspor's long wait for another Super League title goes on. Number 4. Torino. Nowadays, Torino are perennially in the shadow of their city rivals Juventus, but it wasn't always the case, as Torino were the best team in Italy by a country mile before a horrible tragedy struck the club, which I may devote an entire video to at some point. Established in 1906 through a merger of Football Club Torinese and absconders from their city rivals Juventus, their first title arrived in 1927, although it was later revoked after it had emerged that they had bribed the Juventus defender Luigi Alemandi to the tune of 50,000 lira, with 25,000 coming pre-game and 25,000 post-game, to throw the derby, although the post-game payment was actually refused to be given by the Torino officials in the end. No matter, they would win it again in 1928, but their golden age was well and truly the 1940s. They won 5 titles in a row between 1943 and 1949, bear in mind a couple of the seasons were suspended owing to the war, led by their brilliant manager Erno Erbstein and their talisman Valentino Mazzola, with 10 of their squad featuring frequently in the Italian national side, but the final of those titles was extremely hollow. Returning from a friendly game against Benfica in Lisbon in May 1949, the plane carrying them crashed into the Basilica of Superga, out of which no one would emerge alive. The squad had well and truly been decimated, and they would never return to those heights again, and they've only won 1 league title since the 1940s, with it coming in 1976. In 2005, the club suffered bankruptcy, changing their name to Torino FC after the Torino Calcio rights were bought away, and since then they have been regulars in Serie A and infrequent challengers for Europe. Number 5. Tigress. Tigress have an extremely long full name, which I decided, for whatever inane reason, to read out for you all. And here we go, excuse the pronunciation straight off the bat. Club de Fútbol Tigres de la Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León. I guess that'll do. Formed in 1960, it took them 14 years to reach the promised land of the top flight, and then an extra 4 to win it for the first time. However, after a league triumph in 1982, they only finished higher than 9th once in the next 14 years, finally being relegated in 1996, although they would return straight away. They've subsequently gone on to become one of the most successful teams in the modern era of Mexico, winning 5 Apertura titles between 2011 and 2019, as well as finishing at the top of the league in the Clausura 3 further times, although they would be knocked out in the playoffs on each of those 3 occasions. Their most high-profile players have probably been legendary Mexican striker Luis Hernandez, for a while the only Mexican icon on FIFA until Hugo Sanchez joined him in FIFA 20, and André Pierre-Gignac, the former French international who has scored 122 goals in just over 200 games for the club. That just about wraps up today's video on the best clubs whose names begin with T. I really do hope that you enjoyed it, as I said at the start. If you did, hit the like button and hit that subscribe button, and well, comment down below with who you think might feature in the players video for T. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you then.